Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Red Pill, the show where we talk about mysteries, alternative history, and the so-called conspiracy theories that very often they end up to be confirmation theories. Tonight, we talk about the USAID, that stands for the United Charity of America. I believe the US is the greatest country in the world, but of course there are problems. Homelessness, poverty, addiction, criminal activities. We know that America has massive internal issues. Last time I got robbed, it was in LA. So we have infrastructure problems, national debt.
Hold on, hold on. You said last time you got robbed, so you've been robbed multiple multiple
I'm
times.
from Brazil. In Brazil,
Okay.
in the city that I come from, Mike, in Rio de Janeiro, it's a very rough city. So if you were not robbed yourself, you know
Favelas
somebody that's been robbed.
in
So
the
it's
barrios,
like, what is that?
in the barrios,
Um,
the
yeah, it's like in the
favelas.
slums, favelas,
Yeah.
correct. So that's very common. I've been robbed, but the last time, before that, it was in de Janeiro, but the latest time, and I hope the last one, was in LA. So we have problems. That's what I'm saying. But I want to ask you guys the following. Why is America's responsibility to fund developing countries? Why do we need to send money and help international countries?
I think that's a good question. And it can be argued, many different ways. It can be argued that it's our responsibility because for them in a lot of ways, people would argue that we cause a lot of the issues that are overseas with political unrest. We meddle a lot in different foreign affairs and things like that. Others could say, just from a point of view of we have a lot as Americans, that we should share that with less fortunate. You could also look at it from a point of view of, the kind of the opposing, view of what business is it of ours to meddle? Should we be getting involved in wars? Should we be getting involved in foreign politics? Should we be getting involved with, helping at all? Because we're the only ones that do. You don't see when there's a a natural disaster or a famine or, an outbreak of some kind. You don't see Russia showing up. You don't see China showing up. You don't see, the UK for the most part showing up. It's always US Navy ships. It's always, US, US aid that shows up.
What do you think about it personally? Do you think that's right? It is a way to right a wrong? Because from what you're saying, it's like we're trying to correct something that was done previously. So now we're trying to be the good guys in a way. I mean, the very
Personally,
nature of USAID.
personally, I think the US should stop meddling in every single way outside of the US. That we shouldn't be meddling in their politics. We shouldn't be starting wars, getting involved in wars, and for the most part, we shouldn't help. I think that or the government shouldn't help. I should say. I think that it's better served. The people that we mean to help, and the people. Let me bring David up, and the people that let's find it. There we go.
Hi.
Um, I think it's more efficient if private entities manage those funds and and manage that help. I don't think it's our government. I don't think we should trust our government with that much responsibility. They've shown that they can't spend it responsibly. I mean, look at everything that Doge found, with USAID, with all of it. It's, I was telling you before we went live, me and Drew did a black site, like years ago, before Doge and before all of that. And I showed the receipts. I showed the paper trail of where US taxpayer dollars was going to organizations. I wish I could find the graphic.
Where?
Um,
Where did it go?
it went to organizations. I'm trying to remember a couple of the names, but they are, and you can probably Google it or use AI. But a couple of them are run by ex-Weather Underground, like the senior members of the Weather Underground. And I don't know if
That's
you remember
horrible.
them, but from the '60s, they they were a terrorist, a left-leaning terrorist group here in the U.S. They did a bunch of armed robberies. They ended up getting a couple of them got caught doing an armored car robbery. They did a bunch of pipe bombings and stuff like that. But now they're running these NGOs that was getting tax dollars, and they were routing it to BLM and Antifa groups during the riots. I showed the paper trail for it.
Mike, sometimes you just got to commit an armed robbery or two, man. Don't worry about it.
Because equality, because equality.
You got to help support the children. You got to buy kids for the kids.
You got to buy some chickens and some turkeys.
Well, you guys discuss, because I'm actually gonna look it up, because I hate saying things and not citing my sources.
I will tell you what I found out. I was doing a little prep for the show, and I found something very interesting. I will tell you what caught my attention. It is a fact that it was government money that funded a lot of jazz music in the 60s. So Miles Davis, Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong, they were sent to Europe. And there is even a name for the program. I think it was called Jazz Ambassadors.
It was funded by the CIA. It was funded by the CIA.
And I myself, I love jazz music. I love jazz music. And I thought, well, it's not wrong to love jazz. But it's like, oh my God, that's kind of tainted. I've been played. It was like a bunch of money to change and in a way manipulate people. That's propaganda in a way. So maybe that's what's happening with rap music right now.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of evidence to point to that, because I think it was January of 2025.
I mean, that's my favorite part of the story.
Well, when USAID, basically got their funding cut off, it was like January of 2025 when Trump got into office, because of Doge and what they were finding. And it was, I want to say it was July, August is when they, a lot of news outlets started reporting that for the first time since like 1990, back when like MTV Raps and all that, it really, brought rap to the front, that there was no rap songs in the top 40. And Lizzo actually launched a record, and it only sold like 2,600 albums.
Well, and look at hip hop before 1990. The hip hop was totally different. You didn't have all that gangster rap and stuff. And then even Ice Cube has made this statement about that before. Like, hey, this, it just exploded in the 90s. And, it's kind of interesting.
You guys probably have heard of Thomas Sowell. And he says that there is black culture before and after gangster rap.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even black culture in the 70s, I think, or the 60s was totally different. You actually had a whole family unit, and before they banned segregation laws and stuff, like black communities were stronger and actually had a family unit. And after that, it was just, we'll give you enough social support, social handouts, and the father's gone. We'll pay you for having more kids and stuff.
Jeff, I gotta say, bro, like now that we're doing all these collaborations with people, like there's a part of me that like really doesn't want to touch this stuff with a 10-foot pole, but at the same time, like, bro, fuck that.
The inner David is screaming to come out.
I just want to
bring home the bacon, David. Bring home the bacon.
Needs some rocking around money. Gator needs some rocking around money.
Gator don't play that shit. But like, dude, like it's so true. Like if you go back into the 60s, like there was a black family unit. And then you get the civil rights movement, and then you get the welfare state. And all of a sudden, I think it comes down to incentives. I think that there was a perverse incentive. And look, I experienced this firsthand during the pandemic. During the pandemic, 2020, 2021, 2022, I was working in healthcare. And dude, like I saw this stuff firsthand where like people.
It wasn't just healthcare. It was working for the state of California, helping basically illegals get healthcare, right?
It wasn't just that. It wasn't just that. Like my Spanish skills are good enough to where like I was able to work at a Spanish speaking program. And at that Spanish speaking program, we had, I think there was like 25 beds there. And they were all illegals from Central America, all of them. Mm-hmm. And, you know, these people, like, number one, did not have a legal right to be in the country. Number two, were benefiting to the tune of $6,000 a month just for the bed. And then when you talk about like the benefits that they were receiving for healthcare, like we're talking about like, you know, people who were on death's door getting, you know, hepatitis C treatments that were $15,000 a month, you know, you name it, HIV treatments, 15, 20 grand a month. Like, dude, like crazy sums of money that were being spent on people who had never in their lives paid a tax dollar ever. Okay. And well, then, but it wasn't just that though.
Oh, go ahead.
It was a lot more than that, man. Like, so, and it wasn't just black people. It was mostly black people though, who would come to me in my office and they would say, I just had another child. Where's my check? And it was like, you know, the welfare state is such a perverse incentive that I think it destroyed the black family unit. I think that black people in the country were really harmed by the welfare state.
I would tend to agree, but it's not just them. And I know from personal experience, I was raised for a lot of years by a single mom that was on welfare. And I watched, you know, because I lived in a trailer park, and there's a lot of people, you know, that are on welfare in trailer parks. Go figure. But of those people, I watched multi-generational welfare. So, you know, one single mom or one, you know, couple that was on welfare, they would pop out, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids or whatever, because they got more money for every kid that they got.
Right.
And they would, a lot of those kids would grow up to also be on welfare. So it like propagated. It's kind of that idiocracy thing, you know, at the very beginning of Idiocracy with that, you know, freaking family tree that pops up. But one thing that I did notice, and something that, you know, full disclosure, my mom would do with her boyfriend is they would take the old food stamps, you know, the paper ones. They would take the old food stamps, and there was all kinds of food stamp scams. And they would go and buy expensive shit like T-bone steaks and stuff like that. And on the receipt, it didn't say that you paid with food stamps. So you could turn around, go back in, return them, and get cash back. And that's how they would get cash to go party. And so
it's the same thing now.
There is,
just,
the
just on a much grander scale now.
Absolutely, but I'm just painting a picture that it's, you know, it's not just one race. It's not, you know, it's not. It affects everybody. And yes, there needs to be a social safety net. I get that, but there needs to be a cutoff. It can't be a lifetime, you know, benefit and multi-generational where you and all your offspring and all their offspring, it's not sustainable. We're looking at it.
Let me paint the picture from the opposite side. Okay. So I grew up in a very wealthy household. Now,
well, hey, he likes money.
I like the money. You got some money? Let me get that money.
I like the money.
Money is good. Yeah. But like, dude, here's the thing though, from the opposite perspective, right? Like growing up in a wealthy household, like I entered the workforce for the first time in my life. I'd only ever built businesses. None of them ever really succeeded. But like, that's all I did was try and try and try again and fail and fail and fail again. Kept trying, nothing worked. I entered the workforce, right, for the first time in my life. And all of a sudden I'm making like, you know, I'm making 50 grand a year living in California. So like, I can't even afford barely to have a room. Okay. And I can't qualify for the programs that these people that I'm serving get for nothing. Yeah. How does that make you feel? when you know that you're being taxed and you can't get the benefits that people who do nothing but do drugs all day qualify for. Like, that's fucked up, man. And so I realized that it was actually in California anyway, it was a better deal. If you're making less than 50 or 60K a year in California, it's probably more than that now. You're better off quitting your job.
Stop working.
Really?
And just
like you're better off quitting your job, but you've got to live in the right county. That's the thing. You've got to live in the right county. So Contra Costa and San Francisco County, Alameda County to a lesser extent, Northern California, and I'm sure in Southern California this is true also, but in Northern California where I worked, I knew this to be a fact. If you just quit your job making 60K, 50K a year, you were way better off just getting welfare. But here's the kicker. You needed to have someone like me who knew how to work the system to get you those benefits. Because the benefit packages are tax-free. So you could get your rent paid for, your housing, your rent and your housing, transportation, medical benefits. That includes healthcare, dental, vision, all of it. You could get straight up cash, so if you're getting a package of like $3,000 or $4,000, maybe even $4,000 a month in a package from the state, and it's tax-free, dude, we're talking about 30 or 40K a year tax-free. That's more than you net if you're working a 60K or 70K a year job. Yeah. So why work? Why work?
Well, and nothing says that you can't work. You just got to work under the table. Again, that's what my mom's boyfriend did. Is he lived with us? He worked under the table. He didn't live with us, and so they were collecting all those benefits plus everything that he could make under the table.
What kind of work you do under a table? There's not a lot of room.
Well, you know what, Jeff, you live in San Francisco. You should know. You should know what work you do under a table, Jeff. You live in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Is that the new Jeff, glory hole?
What exactly is that work, Jeff?
Yeah.
Listen.
My name's Jeff.
My name's Jeff. If I ever go to a glory hole and I hear my name's Jeff, I'm gonna be like, Jeff.
Listen, thank you, Mike. Yeah, I'd like to share. Go ahead, Jeff. Tell us your experience.
Jeff, you had that experience on those tables?
I need dry powder, man. I need dry powder.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to move up.
That's right. You got to move up from under the table, Jeff.
That's right. That's right.
I got to go down to get up, man.
Out from under the table and onto the stage.
Onto the stage.
This joke just keeps going.
It just keeps running, man. Running. What are you doing on that stage, Jeff? My name's Jeff.
He's like, I need money. He's like, crypto ain't gonna buy itself.
Oh, dude, fucking A.
Listen, I'd like to thank you, Mike. I'd like to share this quick video with you guys because I wonder if all this that you guys are mentioning is by design. So this is about the USA. Yeah, so let's take a look.
Oh, Christ.
Mostly with immigration. I wish people knew that we're letting in criminals daily.
The big issue for for our region is migration. So we poured a lot of money into Central America. Like how much? $4 billion over 4 years. But now migrants are
just from one program.
Somos de nacionalidad venezolana. Tenemos vuelo para Nueva York.
Entonces, ¿le compraste un vuelo con Spirit? Sí.
Spirit's gone.
So what is the end goal? Why are they allowing they want to change the demographics of the United States?
So our aid goes to female prisons in Mexico. Some of that, yeah. To help train them up.
I'm working with gender issues in Pakistan, so we're trying to recruit and advance more women in law enforcement. The question becomes: should we be spending U.S. taxpayers' money in our country on this issue? Women that they don't seem to care about.
Secretary Blinken, how close are you to him? 5 degrees separation. This is such a niche industry that flies under the radar. Yeah, the average American does not know. People don't know.
They always sound gay.
Very much. Because I think usually they are, because if they're pushing those, if they're part of pushing those agendas and stuff like that, it's going to be predominantly left-leaning people that feel that that's okay. Because if they hired somebody like me, somebody that's like middle or right of center, or right wing, there's no way we'd be screaming from the rooftops. We'd be getting a hold of news organizations. I mean, there's no end to what Paulo
you would have been. So, but Mike, you would have been imprisoned. Like that. Yeah. That's what communists do to people who don't tote the line. They imprison you or they kill you. That's
what they were trying to do during COVID. Right. if you didn't get the jab, you should be put in a camp because you're a danger, to others. I mean, they tip their hand. I'll just say it. I mean, there's some things I won't. I mean, well, I don't pull punches on anything, but dude, they fucking tip their hand. The left, they showed their true colors during COVID. Basically the Karens were, basically like the Nazi youth.
The police state.
They were going around as like, oh, they have too many people. They're having a party over at their house. They had too many people. I mean, that's exactly the shit that was going on in Nazi Germany. Like, oh, they have Jews. They have Jews in their house. Go check over there. They were friends with Jews before the party came to power.
Right.
Shit like that. And
isn't that by design? Like all the propaganda that they've been feeding him.
I mean, they had a bunch of polls, and went out and interviewed people, and people were proudly saying, yeah, if people don't get the jab, they deserve. There were some celebrities that were saying that
Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert.
I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger even.
He did. Yes. I mean, dude, like there were so many people during the pandemic that exposed themselves as straight up pieces of shit.
Yep.
And dude, the greatest of them was Anthony Fauci. I don't even want to call him a doctor. Like, dude, the guy went to medical school. He never did any doctoring. Like, he was literally like our bioweapons czar for decades.
Oh, dude.
Decades.
There's videos. I'll look them up, but I'll preface it with this. And I'll let you guys discuss while I look it up. Back in the 90s, the left hated Fauci. There was massive protests calling because of how he handled the AIDS epidemic and all of that. Like I said, I'll find some information on it, but they hated him. There was huge protests with, they were holding signs, kill Fauci. Fauci's a murderer, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden he's like the Messiah.
Isn't it crazy how he became the Messiah? Because I think what happened is this USAID money was able to.
Elon.
Elon Musk, man, he is an amazing guy. He's been able to do so much good.
Oh, no, I'm saying that the left used to love Elon Musk, and now they hate him.
Yeah.
And for what reason? What? Because all of a sudden he decided, I'm not going to go down your rabbit trail of evil communism, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. And they call it democratic socialism, dude. It is straight up communism.
The big switch that I saw was when he bought Twitter. Is when he bought Twitter, and he said he did it because he wanted to save freedom of speech, and he started revealing,
and he did.
He started revealing that all the emails where the U.S. government was telling him to deplatform and censor and do all that stuff. He started revealing that, and the visceral just started growing on the left for Elon Musk.
So let me ask you guys a question: how big do you think this left-wing Democrat socialism communist threat actually is? Is it really half the country, or is it maybe a couple million people who are completely batshit crazy, amplified by bots on the legacy media and on every social media platform you can name? Like, is it really like that there's half the country, or that it's actually just a couple million people maybe who are just amplified by fake voices?
I think it's more young people, because I see a lot of the older Democrats who aren't about the socialist stuff. Like I know, who is it? Stephen A. Smith. He's a sports caster and stuff. And he's been doing a political show where he has people on both sides come on and debate, and he'll interview certain people. He had Rand Paul on recently, but he even calls out the Democratic Socialists, and he's like, this is crazy.
Call them that. Can't call them like that.
And
that's a
James
farce.
Carville, I think, who I hate that dude, man, but
he's not a communist though.
No, he even said that I will leave the party if like guys like Hassan Piker, are the front runners of this bullshit.
Well, dude, a guy like Hassan Piker is literally calling for blood to run in the streets.
He said Mao was a great guy. I'm like, bro,
did you see that speech that he gave wearing the Mao suit?
Yeah.
Like, dude, these people are not hiding who
I know
they
what you guys
are.
are talking about. Yes, I saw
They're
that.
not hiding who they are, man. You look at the Mamdanis of the world. They're all over the place. The Democrat Party has been taken over by these people. These people are evil. And most of them, they're not even Americans, dude. No. Like, Mamdani is literally a Muslim Ugandan communist.
A wealthy. His family was rich.
Yeah. And what about Uganda? I didn't know that there were a bunch of Indians in Uganda. Isn't that like less than 1% of the population? They own like the vast majority of the wealth.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, make that make sense.
That's the thing.
Man.
It's all very strange. I wonder if this is all natural. If this is, that's how politics works. And we're just watching it and we can vote and decide. It doesn't look natural. It looks like it's all a play and that they're playing with us. It's just all manipulation.
It's all amplified because social media makes it such that if you are the mayor of New York City, you can have in your basement at City Hall a bot farm of tens of thousands of these little fucking cards, these cell phones that are just cards. And those cards each equal one user on a social media platform or multiple social media platforms. And so that means that you can literally run a bot farm to amplify your message and make it look like there's millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people who agree with you, when in reality, it's not true. It's not true at all. But because the legacy media is literally some evil extension of the Democrat Communist Party, it makes it look like there's a lot of people who agree with that. There are not. There are not. I think most people have more in common with each other than you might want to accept. Like, we probably have much more in common with our average Democrat voter than we might want to accept. Like,
no, honestly, I know we do. But everyone is so programmed. We see it in crypto. I mean, shit. Today on the show with we had the XRP debate.
That was heated.
No, it wasn't. No, it could have gotten heated.
No. The guy was emotional. I mean, I watched it. I think it was.
He was very passionate. I was very passionate. Yeah, no, we were. I mean,
let me choose the word. Passionate.
Yeah. No, we were very passionate, but no, there was no like animosity or anger.
The chat was more emotional.
But that's what I want to get at.
But that's the thing. The chat probably wasn't real. How much was real? You have no idea. You know?
Yeah. No. You're right. But but you saw it in the chat. You saw. I mean, hell, there was some like pretty heinous things being said. I
saw that.
Funny. But
me too. But dude, it's so hard to laugh.
I watched the replay.
I get afraid of saying what I really want to say, because if I said what I really wanted to say, I'm afraid that people will be like, "Oh, you're some horrible person," or blah blah blah. It's like, dude, like what? Like free speech is not a thing anymore. Like you can't have a conversation without getting canceled. Like, what is this? This is nonsense.
I honestly, I don't pull punches. I say exactly what I think, and if that makes me hated, so be it. I'm not going to bend, the way that I live for to appease another person. Just not going to do it.
I gotta say though, man, like now that we're starting to get some actual real traction, I think about it now. I find myself, I'll tell you this, bro. I find myself at the end of a stream thinking, did I say something wrong? Are they going to ban me? Like, is YouTube going to censor us? Like, I worry about that shit now.
I get it. I get it. But
It's
the thing is,
up.
the thing is though, is you know what? I'm not worried about it. Jeff's not worried about it. You shouldn't worry about it. It's just, you know what? It is what it is. And
I want to succeed off of YouTube. I don't make any money off. I make money trading. I don't make any money off YouTube. So like, it doesn't really matter. But like at the same time, it would hurt me to know that like our platform was impacted negatively because of like some horrible Democrat communist who censored us off YouTube.
Maybe you say the wrong word, and that's not allowed.
Right.
And you know what? It's, to be honest, like we've said before, I'd do this show if we had 5 people watching. You know, it's, I mean, what we got right now, we got 16 people watching. You know, it's like, I just love doing these shows. It's a way for, it's therapeutic.
I like talking to you guys. That's what I like. Yeah,
exactly.
And we'd figure it out either way. Whatever would happen, we'd figure it out.
That's a good point, Jeff. Because you got to worry about what you say.
Go to the website, the no.pro.
That's the thing, because you got to worry about what you say on YouTube. Because depending on what you say, you might be banned from YouTube, and that's it. Yeah. And then where are you going to go? Rumble, Twitter. Okay, but I'm happy with those. All right. But the main player,
you're not going to get the traction.
YouTube. You're not going to get the value.
That's what I'm saying. There's no real competitor to YouTube. There's no real competitor to YouTube.
And dude, YouTube is run by an Indian.
Regardless of who it's run by.
Not allowed to say that, David.
I don't care. I don't care who it's run by. I care about people that respect the founding morals that this country was built on. You know, just the founding documents, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom, right to bear arms, just all of it, the due process, not having the government being more powerful than the people, that type of, vibe, because I mean, they just got done overthrowing, the largest superpower in the world at the time. They were a bunch of farmers, fur trappers and drunkards, for the most part. They were the
sounds great.
Dude, they were the dredges of society that knew they had no chance to, rise, from their current station where they were at. And so they did whatever they had to do to get over to the America.
And Mike, it was started based off of a 2% tax on fucking tea. And it's like, now
it almost makes everybody look like a cuck these days.
Straight up faggots, man. Like,
well, and look at the ages that they were too. They weren't old. They were mostly under 25?
20, 21, 22.
Yeah. They were pretty much
and nowadays, people are like, oh, pay your fair share. And it's like, motherfucker, suck my dick. What the fuck are you talking about?
Had a job?
Talking about?
If you as an individual want to take your money that you earned and give it to some organization that you believe in, whatever that is, it's just like crypto. Like we talked about with crypto. What is that noise?
It's an airplane.
It's an airplane. Like that whistle of a bomb dropping. So no, but it's like, if you want to take your money and you want to donate to whatever it is, I don't care what it is. If you want to donate to BLM, if you want to donate to the KKK, whatever, that is your fucking business and none of my business. But our tax dollars should not be used for stuff like that.
So let me ask you this, David.
And we shouldn't be paying taxes on a lot of shit that we're paying taxes on.
We shouldn't be paying taxes, period.
Well, and since when should I have to get a license, pay for a license to be able to operate a vehicle that I pay for? There's so many things that we pay for the right, or the privilege to be able to do. Property taxes on a house my house is paid off. Why the fuck am I paying the government property taxes?
It's a scam. It's a scam.
So they can send your money so they can send your money to Ghana and
or Pakistan
for a transgender opera.
Or gender studies. Gender
it's
equality.
Completely retarded, dude. It's some type of horrible scam. The entire thing.
Oh, and that word retarded, the people that take offense to that, you are retarded. So calling somebody retarded isn't saying that they're mentally disabled, like an actual person that has mental retardation. A retard is somebody that is perfectly capable, fully functioning, but chooses to be an idiot.
It's like calling someone a bundle of sticks.
Yeah.
Like a little bundle of sticks. That's not what that means, man. Faggot.
Never heard of that.
Okay, faggot. A little bundle of sticks. Like, so.
I've heard of a cigarette in the UK. Right. They call a cigarette a fag.
Yeah.
Right. So look,
bundle of sticks is a faggot.
Dude, to me, that word faggot means someone who's lame. Like, it doesn't mean gay. It has nothing to do with their sexual status. It just means like, I don't like that person sucks. That's all it means. It has nothing to do with sexual status. But for some reason, it's become used to describe a sexual status. And also, for some reason, that's a horrible thing to say. Like, dude, fucking get over it. Fucking get over it. It's
I miss the old school gays that I grew up with. Because my mom had like a bunch of friends that were gay, and I hung out with them all the time, and they were a riot. It was literally. Have you ever watched that movie, The Birdcage?
No.
Like with Robin Williams, dude, you got to watch it. It's fucking hilarious. But that's basically what these gay guys that I grew up around were like. Is they were all very successful, very flamboyant, just comical, and they were always drinking wine and just having these cocktail parties and stuff like that. Yeah, but it's
like there's a bunch of words that you can't say.
No,
and there's a bunch of words that you must say.
A lot of them are pissed about a lot of the shit that's going on now, because a lot of them were just like, we just want to be left the fuck alone. We just don't want people telling us who we can love and marry and live with.
Now you got this transgender shit, which is literally straight up grooming, dude.
Well,
like it's evil.
That's what they're pissed about. That's what
David, I'm laughing because last show I remember I asked you lived in California, now you live in Florida, and what is the difference? And maybe you don't remember your answer, but you said the level of faggotry. The level
that definitely sounds like a quote from David.
The level of faggotry in California is much higher.
But dude,
hold on. Before I forget, I've been drinking, but I'm sorry. Before I forget, I looked up what I was wanting to fucking cite, because that it annoys the shit out of me.
Is it about faggotry, Mike?
It is.
The number.
It is top tier faggotry. All right,
let's hear it.
So let's see. Oh shit. Oh, here we go. The X-Weather Underground. So Susan Rosenberg, she runs an organization.
Is she a Jew? She's a fucking Jew, isn't she?
Well, dude, she's one of your people. She's one of God's chosen people.
God damn it.
So she was actually, if I remember right, she was one of the ones that went to prison for a while for that armored car robbery. She was one of the main.
These Jews communists, dude? I don't get it.
I don't know.
I was fucking.
Hold on. Before we get on a rabbit trail, Before we get on a rabbit trail. So Susan Rosenberg, she runs 1,000 Currents. So this is all that kind of forensic accounting that I did to figure out where our tax dollars were going during the BLM riots and shit. So she was a member of the May 19th Communist Organization, an offshoot and ally of the Weather Underground. She had close ties to Weather Underground operations. In 1984, she was convicted on weapons and explosives charges and sentenced to 58 years in federal prison.
Damn.
Her sentence was commuted by President Bill Clinton in 2001.
For what?
So her because I don't know. But her NGO involvement, Rosenberg later served as vice chair on the board of directors for 1,000 Currents, a fiscal sponsor organization, until stepping down in 2020. So
how much money they got? They probably got a shit ton of money.
1,000 Currents primarily relied on private philanthropy foundations, such as the Kellogg Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation.
Wow.
Yeah. However, local and municipal tax dollars reached organizations under fiscal sponsorship programs through municipal community grants. And actually, this isn't accurate because I actually looked this stuff up, and they were getting federal tax dollars through shit. I'll have to look it up. But
where do we even start? What's wrong with this?
Well, hold on. Bill Ayers. I know you've heard of Bill Ayers.
He was the guy who ran Fox?
No, he was the guy that ran the Weather Underground. Oh. So Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn were co-founders and the top leaders of the Weather Underground organization in the late 60s and early 1970s. So after criminal charges against them were dropped or resolved in the 1970s and 80s, both transitioned into academia and nonprofit advisory roles. Bill Ayers became a distinguished professor of education at the University of Illinois in Chicago. In this capacity, he co-founded the Chicago Annenberg Challenge in 1995, a school reform initiative, received $49 million in funding. Bernadine Dorn served as a clinical associate professor at Northwestern University. So basically, these two organizations, and then Bill Ayers was running another group, another NGO that was getting money during the BLM riots and was funneling money, to those organizations. Because remember all those rumors that there was like pallets of bricks being dropped off, and there was all this funding. Oh, dude, they were like a lot of the people that were getting arrested by a couple of people that got arrested by police that were in the black pajamas and all that were the not Antifa. They were finding communications gear on them, like high end communications gear that was
and
like
jammers and too.
And so they were able. So it was very, very organized. It was very well orchestrated.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, these people all come from academia. They were either straight up communists who had like terrorist plots and got sent to prison. And then all of a sudden, they get out of prison and get a shit ton of money.
She gave Clinton that Lewinsky treatment.
Under the table.
Yeah, under the table. Call back.
Oh my God! What was the topic of today's call? The USAID.
That's the question. Yeah, that's what I want to ask you, David. Why do you think the United States of America needs to send money abroad to help different countries?
Because none of it goes to help the country. It's all a scam. It's all a fraud. It's all money laundering. All of it. Yep. Maybe 0.5% goes to buy fucking like HIV treatments or something, and then even then you got to ask yourself, why the fuck are we paying for HIV treatment in Africa? There are people here in the United States who need that shit. Like, why are we paying for that shit in Africa?
Well, we need regime change so we can say dictate what goes on in other countries.
Dude, it's literally all a fraud.
Our tax dollars. There's a reason why the Pentagon hasn't passed an audit in like 7 years. There's a reason why we haven't gotten any confirmation that there's any gold in Fort Knox. There's a reason why that they got rid of Doge. There's a reason that there's absolutely no transparency to the U.S. budget. There's a reason why they can print money at will with a keystroke. There's a reason why all of this is set up this way. There's zero transparency, zero accountability. And the reason is because it's total corruption, and it's all a fucking house of cards.
They don't work for us.
That's why a lot of us got into crypto, is we're sick of it. We don't want to be tethered to the U.S. government and the U.S. dollar. I want to be invested in something that is going to have value, even if the dollar does something like it did in
So Mike, you know how we're always talking about the names of protocols, like Dromos being the gateway to the underworld. Overnight finance, as in your money.
Bring Aerodrome into this. Do not bring Aerodrome into this.
Okay, let me talk about a base chain protocol. Fucking overnight finance, as in your money disappeared overnight.
I know what you mean.
Fucking black hole, as in like your money disappeared into the black hole.
Barochain.
A barochain. You're on the barochain. What about Tether? as in your money is tethered to the fucking evil. Like you're tethered.
Let me play this real quick. So those of you that don't know, this was in 1984. This is a gentleman that defected from Russia, a KGB agent, and basically
Yuri
lining out.
Bezmenov.
Yeah, the guy is prophetic. I played this before, and the guy is prophetic. Listen to this and tell me if it doesn't perfectly line up with everything that has happened.
This is 42 years ago.
But listen.
Mr. Bezmenov was born in 1939 in a suburb of Moscow. He was the son of a high-ranking Soviet Army officer. He was educated in the elite schools inside the Soviet Union and became an expert in Indian culture and Indian languages. He had an outstanding career with Novosti, which was and still is, I should say, the press arm or the press agency of the Soviet Union. It turns out that this is also a front for the KGB. He escaped to the West in 1970 after becoming totally disgusted with the Soviet system, and he did this at great risk to his life. He certainly is one of the world's outstanding experts on the subject of Soviet propaganda and disinformation and active measures. Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years, actually it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he...
So what does this remind you guys of? I want to go around the horn. Jeff, listening to what he just said, this is just the first step. What does this remind you of?
Are we? Can we not talk about XRP?
You can talk about, because this is very applicable to that as well. I mean, the Americans have gotten to a point that they're so polarized, and that confirmation bias is so strong on every level, in politics, in investing, in crypto, in almost every aspect of life, that it's you can't ignore what he's saying. This was programmed through multi-generations in our education system. So take it wherever you want. But Jeff, I mean, how does this resonate with you?
I actually saw a video earlier that a friend of mine shared on Instagram, and it was some lady talking about how Greg Abbott has destroyed Texas with all these different points. And I was like, you can say the exact same about Newsom in California. So it's not just one party or the other. You're just choosing to ignore that side because it's the side that you're on. And
it's just you disagree with that one, so you're going to point out their flaw.
And there's some other girl that, or she's a woman, but she acts like a child. But I guess she was like a Christian nationalist, part of like a Christian nationalist family, and then broke away from that and is now a far left extremist. And she was going on about ICE and all this other shit, and she was saying she made a point about the Trump good people on both sides, that bullshit that bullshit propaganda where Trump said that there were good people on both sides, talking about white supremacists. It's like, no, you're taking it out of context and choosing not to show the whole picture. You're just choosing to push this narrative that one side has been pumping out there so it can make the other side look bad. But even if you went back and watched the clip, if you looked at it objectively, you would understand like, oh shit, I've been played, but no, people don't want to. It's that cognitive dissonance. It's like, well, it doesn't fit my narrative, so I'm just going to ignore it because it doesn't make me feel good. My side has been lying to me. No, they couldn't have been lying to me. It's like, guys,
we see that in crypto, and I mean, all the time. We saw it with when we said things that weren't liked by multiple groups. So, David, listening to this gentleman, how does it resonate with you? You're like, because you've been around a while. What, you're 35, I think you said?
37. So I've seen this in every school and university I've ever attended. I went to, out of high school, UC Riverside. Then I went to UC San Diego. Then I went to UC Berkeley. And so I have seen this in play at every school I've ever been to. My brother went to UC Santa Cruz and UC Santa Barbara. So I've seen this at 5 University of California system schools.
You went to the Hive.
I've seen this everywhere. Everywhere.
That's like the motherland of the land.
So these people, communism is evil. You should think of communism as being on par with Nazi Germany, and yet, for some reason,
far worse.
I think so too. And yet, for some reason, in Berkeley, California, you can see people proudly flying the hammer and sickle, or they'll have it fucking tattooed on their necks.
Oh yeah, or wearing Che Guevara shirts and shit.
Dude,
like that.
That is the same exact thing as a swastika. The same thing.
It's worse.
So, dude, these people are literally retarded, and so, what he describes as demoralization.
Don't get me wrong. What Nazis did, it was terrible. But their people, the German people, you got to think, it's after World War I. They were taxed and had to, pay a bunch of reparations and stuff like that. That country was impoverished. So when, Adolf came along and was like, we should be a proud people and we're going to rebuild. And there's a reason why he got back into power. And he made that country prosperous again. He made it
honestly, dude, when I look at what is going on right now with what happened to us during COVID under the so-called Biden administration, that was true communism in the United States, man. That authoritarian communism during the Biden regime, that was what we have to look forward to if these Democrats ever get into power again. And when you take a look at what these people are professing, they're not even hiding it anymore. These Democrat politicians are coming out straight up and saying, we're communists, we're going to seize your property, we're going to tax everything you own, we're going to dox you so that these fucking lunatics go and kill you in the street. And guess what? We're aligned with Muslims. We're aligned with fucking Islam. And
dude,
Islam wants to
how delusional do you have to be on the left? If you're a feminist and you believe in women's rights and all of that, how can you align with a group that believes that women are inferior
because that's what you've been taught from birth.
Well, dude, they've been screaming from the rooftops that whole Handmaid's Tale. They've been fucking like flogging themselves and freaking acting like that they're all victims.
Dude,
based
Mike,
off this.
This shit is so evil.
Demoralization. That's what the view is about.
It's demoralization. And this Yuri Bezmenov, he is exactly correct. This has been so successful, and it's because of the. Yeah, dude. Like this stuff is so evil. And look, as much as I dislike what Trump did with his fucking meme coin, Trump is literally the only person standing in between us, normal Americans, and straight up communist dictatorship, dude. Like, that's how fucking dire this is.
I wish people were smart enough to vote for somebody like Rand Paul or something, just somebody that actually wants to clean up fucking Washington. But let's
it's not just Washington; it's all of academia.
It's permeated, and we'll get into that. But Paulo, I want to get your take. So you immigrated from Brazil, and I don't know exactly where you're at, and you don't need to dox yourself, but
North Carolina. Okay. I have a little list here. You asked like the effects of demoralization. So I have a little list like Kamala Harris, Lizzo, gangster rap, Ebonics, American citizenship tests in Spanish, Pride Day celebration, abortion propaganda. It is a felony for you to kill a dog, but not to kill a baby.
Yeah.
So how is that not demoralizing?
Mm-hmm. Valid. Valid, dude. It's I actually was, and I'm not religious at all. I consider myself agnostic. But I would tend to say that I lean more towards the right and the religious, because the left just doesn't make sense. There's no continuity to their way of thinking. Like you just said, it's a felony to kill an animal,
a dog,
or even hurt an animal, but you can kill an unborn baby.
But it's women's rights, Mike. It's women's rights, feminism. We gotta have birth control pills so we can keep our reproductive right. Like
it's like, okay, you don't want a kid, abstain from sex or use birth control. It's like have the guy wear a condom. It's pretty freaking simple.
Which is given for free, isn't it? I think there are parts of America that you can get
you can walk
pill.
into a lot of places, like a Planned Parenthood. You can walk in there, and there's usually like a bowl of condoms sitting there.
Yeah.
So yeah. But all right, let's play another section of this.
He's going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation. It's what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country.
And dude, this is from 1984.
You can see it in Central
Crisis. So, David, we'll start with you this time. So, stage 3, crisis. What have we seen recently?
We've seen in the Biden regime people on elite university campuses screaming from the river to the sea, wearing those fucking Palestinian terrorist balaclavas or whatever the fuck around their heads. So, dude, like these Muslims want to kill us.
Well, and
COVID too. These people want to kill us, okay? They want to fucking enslave and kill us. And yet, you've got white women and white people who profess to be Americans wearing this shit, wearing the garb of terrorist murderers, saying the same shit.
Even if it's not that, I have a copy of the Quran. I've read it on one of my deployments, and in it, I mean, I witnessed it. When it comes to homosexuals and gays, stuff like that, they believe that they can be killed, and then
you got retards screaming queers for Palestine. This shit is so fucking stupid, dude.
I know, and like I said, feminists, and then you start getting into it, and it really speaks volumes to what he was saying back in the 1980s, where it's like this mass, like not reprogramming, it's just a mass programming of whole generations to align with this like whole like subversion of America. I mean, because America was the place. America was the place that you came if you had great ideas. You wanted to start a business, if you wanted to invent something, if you were like a great mind, it was the Rome. Like America was the Rome that of modern times, where you came because you could change your stars. It was kind of what America was advertised to be back during the founding. It was a place where you could start over, and you had a chance because of capitalism. You had a chance to rise from your station. That's why a lot of Indians come here. The caste system is still strong in India. And
the Indians come here because of H-1B visas, bro.
Well, but the reason that they use those,
and they bring their whole fucking families here because of that shit.
In India, the caste system is still alive and well, to where they can't rise.
Because most of those people are fucking dog shit.
But they can't rise above their station, so they come here. And there's
because they're incapable. If you've got a fucking 60 IQ,
they are not. Can't do shit. They are not. They are not.
They are. Look at India. It's a dog shit.
There are plenty. I know my godparents are from India, and he is an engineer. He is an engineer, and he is a very intelligent dude.
An Indian engineer. It's like the engineers from
the majority of them that come to the U.S. and go to college are fucking engineers. What are you talking about?
It's bullshit. It's not fucking true.
Yes, it is.
It's not fucking real, Mike.
I have a question for David. David, do you like Indian food?
Not really. I mean, dude, I like fucking I like spicy chicken. Like the curry, the spicy chicken curry.
You like tandoori chicken and stuff like that.
Yeah, but dude, I don't give a fuck about their food. These people are gross as fuck. They stink. They eat shitty food. They're pieces of shit. Opinion. I don't fucking want them.
But they got good food, David.
Many of them do stink. I'll say that.
Dude, but their country is shit.
You know what?
Their food is seasoned very well.
All around the world, and Americans stink to a lot of other countries.
Their country is shit because they are shitty people.
No, you're painting a very wide brush. I don't like it.
Because it's easy to paint the wide brush. Their fucking country is dog shit. Their biggest import is fucking remittances from the United States from H-1Bs. They shouldn't fucking be here, dude.
David, you've never been to India, have you?
Or Cypher Rock.
I don't agree.
Fuck India.
I don't agree. But like Vietnam, it's the way that the Viet Cong were able to find U.S. troops in the pitch dark of the jungle, a lot of times with smell. Different. If somebody, when I was in Korea, I can't eat kimchi to this day because I spent a year living in Korea, and kimchi comes out, a lot of garlic, a lot of spices, and it comes out in your sweat. And going to the gym there and just being around it so much, I cannot fucking eat it.
Dude, why can't we import Scandinavian white people? What the fuck? Why
They
are
don't
we
have good
importing
food.
fucking
They don't have a
Indians?
reason. They don't have a reason to come here because their country's
Yes,
fine.
they do. No, it's fucking not. All those Scandinavian countries, they
maybe
imported
not more
Muslims.
recently.
Yeah,
we'll probably see an
Muslims.
influx here in about 5 to 10 years.
No, dude, they're gonna fucking die because those Muslims are going to rape and murder them all. The same thing with Western Europe. The same thing. We should not be importing Indians, dude. We shouldn't be importing Africans. We shouldn't be importing Latin Americans. Period.
All it takes is discomfort and pain to change a society. And that's
we should import white people. God damn it!
That whole saying of I always get it wrong. The weak men make hard times make strong men. You know what I'm talking about. But that is what is going to happen. It's a cycle, just like the Bitcoin cycle. Just if you look at anything in nature or in history, everything is a fucking cycle.
It's a circle.
It's a circle of life. What brings us
don't you
here
think? Getting back to the conspiracy thing.
Oh, come on,
you guys think?
Don't take us out of the groove. Don't make
but that's within the question. That's within what we were talking about. Don't you guys think that all these wars? Yeah, he doesn't like you guys anymore. You know, he's done.
He hates us.
Yeah, he's done. But listen, we tease him so much with Indian food and all that.
David, come back!
David, come back!
Like all the international wars and all this, don't you guys think it's all by design? This is all like a big game they're playing. I mean, don't you think like the international wars, all the wars and all the money that is sent abroad is all part of the maintenance of the United States of America as it is?
Go ahead, Jeff. I talked a bunch. Go ahead, Jeff.
I mean, I think just looking at all this stuff like gangster rap and all these movements that we pushed over in other countries, I mean, it's hard to deny the fact that
that's one video I want to share in a little bit.
There's a lot of manipulation that's gone on, and even like the whole racism thing. You know, people pushing a racism narrative, and you know, it's
a very American thing. I can tell you this as a foreigner. Racism in America, or what people call racism here, is nothing what it is in Brazil. But in Brazil, we'll learn with Americans how to properly be racist against one another.
how to properly be racist against one another.
Correct. I'm talking about like in Brazil, black people, they don't have their own neighborhoods. In Brazil, black people, they don't have different names. In Brazil, black people don't have stores, clothing stores that they go. In Brazil, you don't have a culture of kind of cars that black people will drive. That's a very American thing.
So what are you saying? Like basically just you don't see the division that just everybody drives the same cars and buys the same clothes and eats the same food
and speaks the same dialect or the same way.
Thank you. That is the way it used to be in the US. It goes both ways. When I lived in Korea for a year, I was 18 years old. It was when I first joined the military. I went to Korea. I was a guest in their country. I made a very concerted effort to learn their language, learn their customs, learn their courtesies, sample their food, do a lot of things because I was a guest in their country. That is what has been, and thank you, Paulo, for pointing that out. That is something that's been lost here in the US is why should we bend if we're supposed to go overseas and respect other cultures and respect other countries and their customs and courtesies, their religions, then why shouldn't we expect the same?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, look, even Hillary Clinton 20-something years ago said if they come here, they need to learn the language. Yeah. And if you say that now, you're a right-wing extremist.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like the overwhelming majority of immigrants, legal immigrants, illegal immigrants, they do not speak the language. So Over 90% of all the Mexicans that live in the United States of America, they don't speak English. Over 90% of all the Brazilians that live in the United States of America, they don't speak English. And so, like, fluently, they don't. They can say a word or two, but fluently, they don't.
As long as they're hot women, I don't mind. No, I'm kidding.
Correct.
I'm kidding.
I agree with you. Yeah.
I think it's hotter if you speak to me in your language, you know?
Right?
Like,
right? All right. Let's bounce back over here. Let's listen to stage 3 and stage 4.
America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in 1968, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with the benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist.
So I don't know if you're paying attention, but these are all historical facts. And a lot of people will ignore what he's saying because it doesn't align with their way of thinking. But this is 1985. And
because they're thinking about Republican versus Democrat. And he's saying that it's all a big game that's been played.
Yeah, not once has he mentioned, left, right, Democrat.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I never said I was being always like apolitical. I don't think Trump is a saint. I don't think that Trump has don't you guys remember that the ladies in The View, they loved Trump? You remember that?
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. The Clintons were at his
during
wedding.
His first presidential run.
Yeah, they're all friends. It's all a game.
He got a civil rights, like multiple civil rights awards from Jesse Jackson and a bunch of people. He was the darling.
Is he in the Epstein files? Is Trump in the Epstein files at all?
I believe he was mentioned that he was on one of the manifests.
Was he friends with Jeffrey Epstein at all?
Not that went to the island, but that he was on a manifest on the plane that went somewhere, but it wasn't to the island. But anyway,
you're all friends.
I think behind closed doors, they're all smoking cigars, drinking scotch, laughing at all of us.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I don't get passionate about politics. Like Democrats versus, it's all a game. And we have the illusion of choice. And I see this in America. I see this in Brazil. I see this in Europe. I see this same game being played. Well, this is a conspiracy theory show, isn't it? Like the red pill. So I see this game being played everywhere.
Yeah. It's honestly,
and variations of this game. That's what the guy said.
Well, the reason I don't get too passionate about all this is because I understand, because it just, being in the military as long as I was, and the jobs that I did and the places that I went, I've studied history, I've studied warfare, I've studied a lot of things, especially since I've gotten up here, and I got nothing but time. I'm retired, I live in the middle of the woods, and I just do nothing but research things. And what I noticed is, basically, you're wailing into the wind. If you're trying to scream from the rooftops and change minds, it's not going to happen. You have to wait until the realization happens with the individual. The individual has to see the truth. You can't show them the truth. They have to discover the truth. And that usually comes from pain and discomfort. Historically, if you look, a lot of people have really great ideas, but as soon as it gets uncomfortable, as soon as these great ideas make it to where their quality of life changes, and they don't have all the channels and the technology and the nice house and the nice car, and they're standing in a line for bread or shoes, things like that, all of a sudden they wake up. And so I understand that. And that's why, with, in crypto, with XRP and a lot of these other groups, I'm not trying to change minds. I am presenting information, and when you're ready to hear it, you know where to find it.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think you can. I like that you brought that video, because I wanted to watch that video again. And there's a lecture that he gives, which is I think an hour long or more.
No. And, yeah, that one was 6 minutes. It was basically a segment of,
Right.
a much larger. It's the same interview, but a much larger interview. I just didn't want to have everybody sit through an hour long.
Yeah, but Jeff, can you refute any of the things that he said?
No, I mean, it's incredible that it was that long ago, and he said it was already in effect. And if you look at what a lot of the schools are teaching, these esteemed universities and stuff, and the people coming out of them, I mean, who are the loudest proponents of all this crazy communist socialist stuff? They all come from these universities, and they're highly educated, and or they're going for some bullshit gender studies degree. And it's you can tell a lot about somebody from what they went to school to go study, and what school they went to. And especially being here in California, you can't,
unfortunately,
swing a 1,000-foot pole without hitting nothing but left-wing radicalists, man.
And it's sad, because colleges used to be a place for what's called civil discourse. And it might not have seemed like it, but on today's the Node Network show, I debated Mickle, who is a huge bull for XRP. And people have different views on who won that debate, and that's fine. But the root of it all is that colleges used to be a place for civil discourse, where two people were encouraged to have opposing opinions and have to debate those opinions and cite sources, factual data or sources, because otherwise it's just your personal opinion. You cannot debate a feeling. A feeling is very personal. You have to debate universal truths, or what is accepted universal truths at the time, because there's always new discoveries in science and different things. So when you debate something, it has to be fact-based. It can't be speculation. It can't be I think or I feel, because it's valid. You feel that way. That is your reality. That is not everyone's accepted reality. there has to be a universal truth. And so colleges used to encourage that. Now it's, if you don't agree, your grade suffers.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that we say that college is, I understand that college is supposed to be that place and that schools are supposed to be a place that you go and learn. But today is nothing but propaganda for the most part. If you're not like engineer or med school or something that's more precise or a practice.
Even then.
But even then, you have lots of propaganda. Have you guys heard of the Prussian school?
No.
The Prussian school is how schools started in 1600 or more or so, like a long time ago. And it was to train people to obey, go to factories, and to receive that propaganda that they wanted. So I wonder if universities have ever been a place of something that you actually had a debate.
I think that they did, and I'll explain why. And not all. I think mostly Ivy League colleges, they taught, and private colleges, they taught independent thought because those were the children of the elites. They were the ones that were going to be the leaders, the politicians, the ones that shaped society.
That makes sense.
Everyone else, I think that they were taught to be doctors, to be engineers, to be lawyers, to be servants at high level, but servants. And as time went on, they added all these bullshit degrees that honestly you don't need. And I'm not just talking about gender studies and stuff like that. I'm talking about trades, like auto mechanics and welding and, stuff like that.
Plumbing.
Was stuff that you used to just go and do an apprenticeship. I remember when I was in junior high, I went and swept floors in an auto body shop so that the owner, for free, so that the owner would teach me how to do auto body. So I swept for like weeks and weeks and weeks with no pay, hoping at some point he'd be like, "Hey, come over here." And finally he did. And was like, this is how you sand a car. This is how you use Bondo. This is how you use fiberglass. This is how you sand. And he taught me all that stuff. That is the way that trades used to be taught. Nowadays,
that's real education right there. That's a real thing. That's a real skill.
Exactly. But nowadays it's like, okay, you have to go into debt. Well, you have to go into debt to learn a trade. That, to me, that's insane.
Yeah. It's all a game. It's all a game. It seems that we are all being played. I just discovered today that jazz music was almost like artificially created and funded to have this American propaganda, is what it seems like.
Well, historically, that's not correct.
Promoted.
Jazz and blues was very much a part of I hate the word African American, but the Black American culture. But you are right; it was used to through the CIA to basically try to spread a certain agenda around the globe,
or just American propaganda. Because, for example, USAID, I understand. I think it would be very useful and honest to say, hey, this is about the American dream. This is about American propaganda. And we're going to teach people that's why people in China, they want to come to America. That's why I came to America. That's why a lot of people, they want to move here. So that's a net positive for the US dollar, which I would call like the greatest American product that everybody's trading. Everybody's trading the American dollar.
Dude, but it is infuriating. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but there is the perversion of this. There's like more propaganda. I would like to share a video with you guys in a little bit about what they found in the USAID binds. And
Jeff, do you have more time, or do you have a hard stop, or?
No, you're good.
All right, cool. I just want to be sure. All right, go ahead, Paulo.
So, but there is the perversion of this propaganda, and they're pushing narratives and so on and so forth. I have here in line, Mike, if you can share this video real quick about what's happening with the funds of USAID.
Let's see, add to the stage. There you go.
Yeah. There we go. Let me share this with you guys.
So I found this big trash pile. All trash. Things that Afghanis don't need. Loads of chairs.
This is in Afghanistan.
More chairs, some rugs they don't want. What else don't they want in Afghanistan? Gender sensitivity training. USAID Afghans Value Chains Livestock Gender and Youth Team. Oh no. Oh, it's all junk. Terrible. Then again, it could be trying to explain to the Americans they've got their own weird ways of doing things. Let them do it. What else is here? Women's agriculture. Don't need that anymore.
What?
That's for trash heap. More gender sensitivity training. Don't need that. God. Found Mitt Romney's.
That's it. Women agriculture.
How long has that been going on for, man?
A long time. So there's a movie called Charlie Murphy's War. Well, there's a movie called Charlie Murphy's War, and it's based on a true
Charlie
story.
Murphy.
Is it Charlie? You know what? I might have misspoke there. Sorry. Maybe it was Charlie Murphy. Anyway, there was a politician.
Murphy's War.
Well, there's a politician in the 80s, 70s or 80s that was a huge partier. So back in the day, freaking U.S. politicians were partiers. Like they were doing coke and they were messing with strippers. They were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I know from not firsthand, but secondhand experience. My godfather, my godfather is from India. His name, I won't dox him in case his wife ever sees this. But anyway, he
it was secondhand or third hand.
Well, it was before he was married, but he lived in Washington D.C. in Virginia, like outside of D.C. in Virginia, and my dad lived there as well. And he threw some of the best parties in Washington D.C. And so politicians would show up because all the hot women were there. There was all the goodies. All the goodies were there. And so he had politicians that would show up to his parties. And they both of them worked on the metro, the train system, the subway system there, my dad and him. And but anyway, this is stories that he told me. But this guy, I'm going to call him Charlie Murphy, but it's probably not his name. But he, for some reason, he was presented with, this was back when Russia, the USSR.
Is that the movie, Mike? Murphy's War?
Yes, I believe that's it.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Those photos were like black and white. It's not that old.
It's 1971.
No. This movie was like in the early 2000s, something like that. But I believe it might have been called Charlie Murphy's War. Charlie Murphy. But basically, the Afghans were trying to fight the Russians because the Russians were wanting to build a pipeline through Afghanistan. And so they were fighting. So the CIA had gotten involved and was teaching them guerrilla warfare tactics and things like that. Special forces were in there and teaching them guerrilla warfare tactics, improvised explosives. Basically, all the stuff they used against us was stuff that we taught them back in the 80s. And so what he did is he got the U.S. to supply the Afghanis with Stinger missiles because the Hind, the armored helicopter that the Russians used, was basically impervious to anything that they had, because they had these massive, they call them camel guns. They're basically really long muskets, and they wouldn't do anything to a hind. And if they shot at them or pissed them off in any way, the Russians didn't mess around. They would just fly over the nearest village and lay waste to it.
So you're saying that he found a way to get Americans to help arm the Afghans?
Yes. So anyway.
Charlie Wilson's war.
Charlie Wilson, thank you.
Yeah.
Not Charlie Murphy.
Got it.
Charlie Wilson's war. Thank you.
Oh, Tom Hanks. Hey.
Yeah, no. It was a great movie, but it's based on a true story.
Yeah. Shit. I'll have to watch that, man. Damn.
But yeah, super interesting though. But basically he was a huge partier that, kind of had his, coming to Jesus moment where he was like, oh shit, there's people trying to fight the Soviets. There's people that are suffering and dying. I'm going to do something about it. But that goes back to what Paulo was talking about at the beginning of the call. At what point does the U.S. say, not our problem? So let's wrap it up with that.
It kind of became our problem because we're arming all those guys now. We've been arming them.
We made it our problem. But let's go around the horn. Let's end on that. So Jeff, in your opinion, at what point, should the U.S.
Bliss.
Thank you. At what point should or should not the U.S. be getting involved in foreign affairs?
When people in America are taken care of. It's like you have to look after yourself first before you take care of your family and friends and can support them, because if you're not taken care of, you're not going to have enough in your cup to help other people. And I've told that to my brother, who would neglect himself over, making his kids a priority versus himself. And I'm like, dude, if you get sick because you're not taking care of yourself, then your kids are going to not be supported because you can't be there for them. So we have to take care of our own people first, make sure we have the resources, and people that are flooding in the country, that take resources. I tell my friends this: you let 10 to 20 people come into your house and live there and you support them, you're going to run out of resources really fast. It's the same with America. You let in a ton of people, unvetted or whatever the case may be, without proper support and having the proper resources, it's going to be bad. So make sure that the people here are taken care of before you could go out and help other countries, and don't be wasting tax dollars on bullshit. Make yourself your first priority, and then you can help support others. But even in that case, I don't think we should be funding like you said earlier, the government shouldn't be involved in that funding. Private entities and stuff could be a better way to go, philanthropic ventures. But then even then, at some point, you have people who it's like, oh, my cousin's cousin is running this NGO or this private fund that is gonna do my bidding. But it's better than the government being directly involved. But
exactly, it isolates. But basically, from like what you said and what I wrote down as my notes, is help from a position of strength. So we can't help anybody if America is weak. We can't help anybody. But Paulo, what are your thoughts? At same question.
Very inspiring words. Yeah, just look, I'll just continue what Jeff was saying. Just look what happened to Spain right now. Mm-hmm. They've been invaded by Moroccans. They've been invaded. That's not natural. That's not organic. They were brought there. That was made. So I like that saying. What happens in my house is more important than what happens in a White House, because a lot of things are going on in politics and society, in the financial markets, and we have little control over those things. But I do my best to try to focus on the things that I can control.
Mm-hmm.
No, and honestly, that's a very smart way to go about life. It's in the military, in the jobs that I did, we called it economy of movement. So that's why I don't get, super emotional or kind of overzealous about, needing to stop or change anything around me, is because to me, it's wasted energy. You're wailing into the wind. You're up on a mountaintop screaming into the wind. No one can hear you. It's what most people do on social media. They have, 20 followers and they spend all day, tweeting out or, messaging out, their opinion. And that's great. But, what effect is that having? You're spending your entire day texting and tweeting about, your thoughts or your feelings, and you're basically screaming them into a void. Social media is an illusion. Social media, and I say this from a person that we spend a lot of time, developing. Me and Jeff, we spent a lot of time building a channel where it was just me and Jeff talking to each other for a long time. Am I wrong, Jeff?
Yeah.
It was me and Jeff just hanging out, talking to each other for a long time.
Yep.
Until we got enough people that was like, hey, what these guys are saying has value. And they started, subscribing and doing stuff like that. And that's what we built this channel on, is just integrity. We're not trying to get likes. We're not trying to get, subscribers. It's about just being genuine, being honest, citing your sources, talking about truth. Well, it's just like the red pill. The red pill is just genuinely us. Our crypto stuff, like this is, unfiltered and sovereign. But over on, the Node network, our other channel, when it comes to investing in crypto, David and Jeff just speaking the truth. We go out and we find cited primary sources and give information. It's not our opinion. It's literally fact. And it's data. If you choose to accept it or not is up to you. It affects me in no way whatsoever. I sleep very beautifully in my handcrafted cabin on my 20 acres in the middle of nowhere, in my big, California king bed with giant pillars, and
it's pretty nice.
Yeah, Jeff's been here multiple times. I don't care what you do. I have, for me, the perfect life. But if you don't seek out truth, if you are not a disciple of truth, and again, I'm not saying everything that we say is going to be 100% true all the time. Fact check us. You should fact check everything. I highly encourage you to fact check fucking everything that you hear and see. With AI and all the obstacles out there and all the influences, question everything, including us. That if you take anything away from this or any channel you watch of ours, question everything. Do not be lazy. Do your due diligence. Seek out truth. Because if not, you are going to be manipulated and you are going to be controlled. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
No.
Watch the XRP debate.
Yeah. Yeah. The Node network.
Speaking of truth.
Yeah.
Oh, someone did say in the comments, that was my favorite. He said, Mike and David probably think we landed on the moon. And I died because we just talked about that a few weeks ago.
I know. And
I was like,
the thing is, honestly, when I see comments like that, I'm like, you've done as much research on us as you have on the project you're invested in.
Right.
Because if you knew anything about us, you would know we question everything.
Yeah.
So,
including Bitcoin.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. No, dude. If you watch me and David and our deep dive on Bitcoin, it was not gentle. So, Paulo, thank you so much for hosting this.
Yeah, man.
Thank you,
Jeff,
Mike. Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff, thank you so much. And I know most of you out there, actually all of you, other than two people, are watching on X. If you could share this out, come join us on YouTube and join the conversation. Get involved in asking us questions. We love questions here. If you think that we're idiots, if you think that we're wrong, as long as you are willing and able to cite a source that proves us wrong,
right here,
please show us. We are not an echo chamber here. If we are wrong about something, show us, tell us, cite a source, and if we are wrong, we will correct ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's no egos here. In truth, there is no egos. Thank you, Jeff, for showing the channel.
Yeah, both channels, the Node Network, our crypto channel, and this one, Unfiltered and Sovereign. And also, I have my music channel.
I was going to say, show your music.
I have my first song dropping tomorrow, so let's go.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
Yeah,
you need to post that. I want to listen.
Oh, I got my buddy working on the cover art for it, so it's pretty heavy.
Can you send a link on the source?
Yeah, I'll share it in the source. It'll be on my SoundCloud and Spotify and all that. So let's go. I appreciate you guys and all you out there.
Let's I'm going to share this real quick on our way out, just because David is here in spirit. Even though he fucking bailed, we'll forgive him. So
we love you,
the Node.pro. This is our official website. But if you come in here to community, this is all free, by the way. This isn't shilling. We're not trying to get you to buy anything. But if you come here to the Node.pro, you can find our community. You can chat with me, David, Jeff, Paulo, anybody from the community. You can learn if you want to learn about crypto, if you want to learn about DeFi and investing in these digital assets, 100% free. You can go through and you can learn about all of it. And the Intel library. If you want to learn about all the different major and even some of the smaller market cap crypto projects, you can come through here. All of this is free. Again, we don't charge for any of this. This is us genuinely wanting to help you all. But come in here and you can watch videos, you can watch, you can read through information. And the most important thing, I'm going to show it because it's nails on a chalkboard. Anybody that doesn't do this, if you scroll to the very bottom, after you get past the video and all the freaking shit you can read, after you get past the slide deck with all the different infographics, once you get past the elevator pitch here, go down to the source document, scroll to the bottom, and we cite all of our sources. I cannot stress how important this is. If you are listening to anybody and they're stating something as a statement of fact, demand that they cite their source. And what that means, those of you that don't know, it means that they need to give you, where is it? Where is the universal truth? Where is the place that information resides that is universally accepted, not a personal opinion or feeling? Especially in investing, you need to demand this.
Mike, let me say this real quick. My favorite deep dive was that one on DeFi Llama. Like, what is the source of the source? That was pretty much what it was. Like, all this data that we got, that it looks like it's from the source, where does it actually come from? Yes. That was my favorite.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's important, because we use DeFi Llama all the time. Like, it's scripture.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
It's a data aggregator. So
exactly.
if you're not looking at how is that data pulled, what sources is it using to compile that data? Is it corrupted? Is it manipulated? So important in media, in investing, in life, in religion. Question everything. That is what the red pill is about. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jeff.
Appreciate you guys.
I know I get passionate. I know I get on rabbit trails, but that's the beauty of the red pill is me drinking one and being a total idiot. So thank you all for joining. Jeff, thank you. David, even though you fucking left, thank you. Paulo, thank you. And all of you that are watching, thank you very much. Till next time, Veteran Crypto out.
Peace out.